Morning, everybody. Please silence all electronic devices for the duration of the meeting. Welcome to the February 19th, 2024 Operations and Safety Committee meeting. I'm Councilmember Gil Schussler, Vice Chair of the Operations and Safety Committee. The meeting format is hybrid. A quorum is physically present at the HART Administrative Offices, 1201 East 7th Avenue, Florida Conference Room, and the rest of the board members are participating via communication media technology. Please look at the screen of your devices, and if you can, an image of the flag is displayed. If you can, please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everybody. First section is public comment. On the agenda, there's no one scheduled to speak, and it appears to be no one in the public for public comment this morning. Therefore, this concludes the public input section of the meeting. In your packet, the minutes from the January 22nd, 2024 Operations and Safety Committee meeting. If everybody's had a chance to review, is there a motion to approve the minutes?
Second.
A motion and a second. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, like sign. Appearing to be none. Motion passes. Did you say that they're here, Danielle? Nope. Okay. So what we'll do is we're going to flip-flop the presentations. So we're going to do, all right, I'm going to mess this up. We're going to do 4B first, correct? Okay. And we'll come back to 4A when the participants will arrive. So the April 2024 markup by Mr. Justin Willits, Director of Planning and Scheduling. Mr. Willits, you are recognized to present.
All right, thank you. Justin Willits, Director of Planning and Scheduling. And I'm just going to walk you through the April service changes, which is a minor service change as we define it here at HART. The service change objectives, starting with customer benefits, we're looking to improve service reliability with on-time performance, adjust route frequency on the route to improve reliability, and create better connections and transfers, primarily at transfer centers, but also along the routes when they intersect away from transit centers. We aim to provide employee benefits by improving and providing a greater ability to operate and maintain the published schedule, but by creating layovers and breaks and recovery time, as we call it, for operators at the end of each trip. And finally, the community benefits. We want to maximize our resources by aligning the level of service with the ridership along the corridor, improve the reliability of that service, and again, provide better connections and transfers. So the service change process, we take employee input. The planning department sits with operators and supervisors and several of different, the break room is one. We have other larger groups that we meet for on-time performance, working group as seen below. And we spend a good amount of time riding the routes as well. And then one of the big things we moved forward with for April was looking at a system-wide review of time points. A lot of the time points throughout our system are too close together and really kind of impair the operators for operating the route the most efficient way they know how. And they're really legacy time points, so we've removed a few of those so that they're more spaced out from like 10 to 15 minutes rather than like 4 or 5 minutes between them, so that the operators kind of have more flexibility to just run the route as it should be, and then we can hopefully improve our on-time performance and the consistency of the service so they don't have to feel uncomfortable holding at a time point for fear of getting like an early, and then our numbers then looking bad. It kind of just gives them a little more flexibility to do their jobs. The customer input. We had several route-specific customer surveys, which I'll touch on the next slide, and then we monitor See Click Fix, which is a portal that we gather comments and then review them by the appropriate departments. And then we also did some surveys at the Marion Transit Center about a couple of very specific service changes. Another thing we did is we implemented a change into the back end of our scheduling operation to have more flexible run times across time bands so they more accurately reflect the most current traffic data that impacts our on-time performance along each corridor. And then a summary of the service changes. Route 1, this is our best ridership corridor. We've adjusted the off-peak frequency to every 20 minutes because we needed to add some running time to that route. And actually, that route's really being affected by the interstate construction right now, so we're having to add more time to it because of the traffic that corridor is absorbing during that construction. So that's one of the ways that outside factors influence our ability to deliver service. So we're keeping the 15 minutes service during the peak direction for the few hours of the morning and evening peak, and then dialing it back to 20 minutes to really hopefully improve the operation throughout the bulk of the day. Route 5 is being extended to Tampa General Hospital. Route 19 is being removed from Tampa General Hospital to speed up that service for the majority of customers and change the way that we serve TGH. The large majority of our riders come from the north to access TGH, so we made the strategic decision to find a better service to connect where those riders are coming from to their destination and also improve the Route 19 service for the majority of riders who are not going to the hospital. Route 46 is going to be re-implemented to replace the HART Flex in Brandon, primarily driven by safety concerns. Route 400 is one of our top 4 ridership routes, but has not seen some growth in the last few years in ridership. It's holding steady at about 3,200 passengers per weekday. So we're dialing that frequency back from 15 to 20 minutes to allocate those resources, resources being vehicles and operators, to other places in the system that need an extra vehicle or an extra operating block to satisfy the service requirements. The streetcar has just been tweaked slightly to have the 12-minute service starting and ending a little bit earlier on Sundays and a little bit later on Saturdays. And then the HART Flex in South County was extended due to some operating concerns primarily further into Waimama and removed from an apartment complex that's been served for a very long time. The runtime adjustments were completed on about half of the service, half of the fixed routes, and then the time point changes I referenced earlier, about half of the routes as well. And that's my overview. I'll take any questions if needed.
Any questions or comments? I do have one. I wish we could encapsulate this in some type of a PSA for the general public, particularly the beginning of your presentation. That information is very, very good. Everybody needs to know. This is not just we're throwing darts at a dartboard, figure, oh, let's move this one, let's move that one. The depth and breadth of planning and analysis that goes into it, the general public doesn't see it, and they don't. And we've had comments here, public comment, where people are complaining because, well, you need to ride the bus, you need to do this, and we made this markup, and now you're changing this, you're changing that. There's a lot of diligent thought process that goes into it, and you guys do your due diligence on it. And it's a shame we can't let everybody know in a better format what all goes into making these changes, that they are very deliberate and very planned. So thank you very much for this update. Any questions? Good deal. Thank you, sir. Okay, let's go back to, we ready to go to 4A? Danielle? Very good. Thank you very much. Okay, the first presentation, or the second presentation, now move back, it will be the Operations Ambassador Pilot Program by the staff. Staff, you're recognized to introduce yourselves and to present. Good morning.
Good morning, Chair, board members, CEO Dranger. My name is Stephen Fields. I'm here to represent the pilot program for the ambassadors. I would like Ms. Jones and Ms. Elaine to join me while we're up here speaking on this. Just some highlights of why this program came about. it's a pilot program where we wanted to enhance our paratransit system and our customers' experience. So we came with two different programs where Ms. Jones and a couple of her colleagues, they worked together with the planning department to help us load balance. And also, the other part of it was talking to the customers out there in the fleet. So that way at our transfer points and throughout the routes out there, they're out there to help the customers, help the operators do things. Now, some of the things we got out of it was financial impact. A yearly quarterly savings of about $40,000 of gas. Now, this is only the first quarter only, so I'm only talking about the first quarter of FY24. Consumer service improvement, bus and bags provide unfilled assistance for better customer service experience. Also, the assist and layovers of what they was going through. Also, load balancing implemented for paratransit, ensuring smooth operations. Because what we had ran into was that a lot of people were saying they was riding on the vans a long time and wouldn't get to their locations, pickup was off. Our customer experience at our transfer centers, that bus was leaving early and wasn't meeting what we need to get. So this program helped us to go out there to do things that we need to do to show our customers and with our paratransit riders how we're changing things to make things better under the leadership of Bobby Edwards and Mr. Scott Drainville. So on with this, I bring Ms. Jones up to talk about the testimony of the operators that she talked to that gives us an idea as in word of mouth, how they experienced and what they did. Ms. Jones.
Good morning.
Good morning, board. Kind of cold, that's why I still got my jacket on. Just operators' testimony, they are appreciated the first quarter for how we've been helping the schedulers with load balancing and helping them route the vans so they're not crossing the entire Hillsborough County. And how if they're in the southeast of the county, they can stay in the southeast of the county, then going from southeast to northwest. And the patrons are not riding all over Tampa, as some of the patrons would say, sightseeing. So we kind of eliminated a lot of that by with this program. And also, as far as with the load balancing, we're making sure all the drivers and operators are treated fairly, that if one operator pick up 12 passengers, all of them pick up 12 passengers, if it's feasible in that area. And so the morale, the attendance, and everything has changed the first quarter because of this program. I mean, before we used to see a high attendance in paratransit because the drivers would be exhausted from driving 12 hours, 10 hours, or whatever their shift was, and they'll be doing almost 200 plus miles a day. So that has changed dramatically, and I want to thank Mr. Edwards and Mr. Drainville on this vision, and Mr. Fields here, and working with us, and also the schedulers. They're doing a magnificent job, and this is a program I see that it's going to help HART. It's going to help with the paratransit division. You're going to see a better staffing. You're going to see not a high turnover rate when it comes to paratransit. You're going to see your vans not being ran down. You're not going to have to purchase them so much because of the mileage and the fuel level that's not going to be wasted. So that is my report. Thank you again.
Thank you very much.
All right, complaints comparison of the first quarter. As you see on here, we compared the first quarter from FY22 to FY23. It's on van arrival schedules. As you see in 22, which is in blue, we had a total of 139 complaints. And out of 139, 97 of those complaints was about van arrival time. In December, of 23 of December, October to December, we changed that. We had 98 total complaints. Only 27 was van arrival schedule. So if you look at that, and 22, it was 70% of our complaints was about van arrival time. We broke that down to 26% the following quarter. So that way it works. This program has helped our customers and our operators when they arrive on time to their location to pick them up, to take them to their appointment. So if you look at that, the on-time performance has increased as in those particular ones, and the complaints have went down as in van arrival time. On-time performance for the first quarter. And again, FY22 to FY23, just the first quarter, the on-time performance For schedule was 77%, and for appointments was 84%. And FY '23, on-time performance for appointments was 95%, and it moved up to 97%. As you see in the difference too, one between your on-time performance for schedule and appointments, and a lot of people always say, what is schedule, what is appointments? We have two different pickups that we have to pick up. One is a scheduled appointment that someone say, I want to get picked up at a specific time. The other is appointment. I want to be at my appointment at this particular time. FY '22 was 77%. FY '23, 84%. And also appointment, we was at 95% FY '22. We moved that over to FY '23 at 97%. One's a 7% increase, and others a 2% increase as in performance, as in our on-time performance. So that way, it shows our customers. We have changed the things we do. Also, as Ms. Jones mentioned, as in absentees, our absentee rate, we average about 13% across the board. That has been reduced also. Drivers are showing up to work more because of what we're doing is how we are load balancing. We're load balancing so that way each one of our operators have the same opportunity to come to work, to do their job, and pick up the same amount of people on a daily basis. So that way, they're showing up, and we're keeping them in zones. We're trying to keep them in a zone so that way, as Ms. Jones said, they don't have to travel all over to show our customers a tour of Tampa, because a lot of times what happens is that you're in a van and you can be on there for 1 hour, 2 hours. That's not what we want. We want you to be on there as minimum as possible, and we've reduced that by having our van stay in the same zone, so that way our drivers are driving less wear and tear on our vans. Before, we was averaging about 200 miles on a van per day. We're down to about 150 right now. That's 26 less miles per operator, per van, per day that we have savings on this pilot program. And as you see, ridership performance. So I'm gonna give you a baseline of 2019 pre-COVID. 2019, our ridership as a baseline was 196,000 that rode. The VRM is van revenue miles, VRH is van revenue hours, and the PPRM is person per revenue mile, and PPRH, person per revenue hour. So our baseline was 2019 pre-COVID, 196,897. If you look at that and say all the numbers that we're looking at, we reduced that. In 2020, as the COVID hit, we was at 71%, and that's 71% of the 186,000 went down to 140,000. And 21 went to 142, and that's at 72%. Now we changed. FY '22, 215,000. That is 109% where we're at, as your baseline as 196,000 FY '19 to FY '22. FY '23, Justin, these are only the first quarters only that you're looking at. So FY '23, the first quarter, 230,000. That's 117% above the baseline that we marked for 2019, pre-COVID, during COVID, post-COVID. As you look across the PPRH, as in person per revenue hour, FY '19, we was at 1.63. The national average is 1.50. As you look at those numbers, we dropped in 21 to 1.33, but as you saw in 22 coming out of post-COVID, at FY '23 first quarter, 1.75. That's almost 2 bodies per hour that we're doing because of how we changed the program to make it work in our hands to do things better. Also, if you look at the van revenue miles and all that, we did 188,000 miles average for FY '22. And then in '23, 173,000, different of 14,943 miles. That's the same as I was talking about, where we can save almost $40,000 in gasoline prices, come to about 140-some-thousand per year if you look at it as the gas mileage, and 26 less miles that an operator is driving. Now you say 26 less miles, is that a lot of miles? It is a lot of miles when you're behind the wheel for 5 and 6 hours a day at a time. So you got to remember, this is what they're supposed to do, but at the same time, we don't want them to drive that many miles per day. That's wear and tear. That's why we had a high absentee ratio. Now that number is down because they're showing up to work, because what we have changed in the program to make it better for the operators and our customers' experience at the same time. Our next one, go into the fixed route ambassadors. On that is where they go out, and you guys, when you travel around the world and stuff like that, you have ambassadors that help you navigate the city. They wear red coats and stuff so you can identify who they are and where they're going and stuff like that. So what happens is that we put our ambassador out there with a colorful shirt on, with ambassadors on it to let people know that they're here to assist you to get to one point to another point, because as everyone knows in this room, that Tampa is growing. And visitors are coming here to ride from the north because they're 100% transit in the north. We might not be 100% here, but we're working toward that. So when they come here, they don't know what bus to take, what route to get on, how to get to certain points, how to get to the airport, what bus take me to some point of interest in the city. These ambassador bus operators who have various time here with HART, and they know the system. So we allow them to go out to help our customers and our operators at end-of-the-line points where they're loading and unloading, and also to assist the customers. I'm gonna bring up the Vice President, Elaine, and she's gonna give you a testimony of what the operators and the customers are saying, and also the operators' concern. Ms. Elaine?
Good morning, board. Mr. Phil about said everything. We go out to all the hubs. Our main station is downtown, and that's where we get most of our out-of-towners. 'Cause we got the Greyhound there, we have the Flix there, we have Greyhound down there, and we have people got to get to the airport. So when people come in from out of town, when they don't know what routes to get on to go to the airport, we always have to tell them the 30 and the 10, and we assist them with their luggage, whatever they have to do. When they want to go to Amtrak, we tell them Route 12 and 9 that goes by Amtrak. And most of the people that comes out of town, they get out their cars to get on our Greyhound and the Flix bus that they have downtown now. So most of them speak Spanish, so now we just ask them for their phone, let me see your phone, or their paperwork, because they don't know if they have to get on the Greyhound or the Flix bus. So we have to explain which one, show them where it's at, direct them to it. When it comes to our operators may have like 5 minutes to get off their bus. Now they're more relieved to see us downtown or at Net Park or UATC, Brandon Mall, Britton Plaza, Northwest. When they see us there, they get off the bus. They may have like 5 minutes. When we're there, we load their bus up for them, let them go take their break, do what they need to do, get a breather. When they come back, all they got to do is get on their bus and just drive off. So now when they pull up, they expect to see one of us at one of those stations. So when we're there, we pick the route that has the least time to be there. Some buses may have 15 minutes, some may have 5, some may even have 3. We still let them get off their bus, we load their wheelchairs, we load their patrons, they get on, they go. When it comes to our wheelchair patrons, if we have 2 or 3 trying to get on the bus, even if 2 be on the bus, we'll ride with that operator. So all they got to do is just drive. We answer all their questions while they're on the bus. We hook up their wheelchairs, we unload their wheelchairs, then we'll get on another bus. And we see another bus that's running late, we'll get on that bus and ride with that person. We answer all their questions, do their wheelchairs. We basically out there, we're their second hand. And we hook up, we talk to patrons every day, tell them about the new routes that's coming up in April. We be out there telling about how the Route 5 is changing, how the 19 changing, the 1, and where they have to get off at now to make their connection. So we out there now before the spring markup, and we basically touching all the patrons and letting the operators know what's coming up and what they're expecting in April. And basically that's about it.
Very good.
And we have a mission. Our mission is every morning is hope, helping operators and patrons every morning.
Very good, thank you.
That's about it.
Thank you.
Mr. Edwards, would you like to?
Yeah, thank you, Stephen, Elaine, and Ms. Jones back there. I can't see her. I just want to say you guys are doing a great job out there, and the community and the operators are depending on you. Also, for board members, to reiterate what Mr. Fields stated, Mr. Drainville came to me, several months ago to look at an ambassador program out in Minnesota. So a few members of my staff and we attended a webinar to check that out to see what they were doing. From there, what we did is we came back and decided to which what better way would it be to build a program for employees and the citizens other than to use our union partners? So there's a lot of agencies around the country that's creating ambassador-type programs and things like that, but no one is using our ATU partners. And that's a big part of this program, and that's a big part of what's making it successful for us. So, again, I just want to say thank you to all you guys for all you do.
I'd like to echo that. That's incredible. The utilization of our people is the best way to put this forward. Now, what are going to be the next steps with the ambassador program? Are we going to roll this out? What are you going to do next with it?
Yeah, so we just extended it. We did it for an initial 3 months. So we extended it for another 3 months. We want to just keep monitoring it and see if the trends are continuing to head in the right direction. I think we got it set for June, I want to say, to kind of, as that drop dead date, to look at it and see from there, what are the next steps.
And how are we sharing this with the general public so that this is good stuff? This is
Yeah, social media has been
Yeah.
put out over social media and things like that. Our communications department is doing a really good job of getting the word out.
Good. Excellent. Thank you, Ms. Jones. We appreciate your help. Anybody have any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Fields. Thank you very much. Excellent. Next, we have operations and maintenance. I did have one question, going back, and I don't know who brought this up. I think it was with the Vans. Mr. Fields, I'm sorry. The scheduled versus appointment.
Yes, sir.
On-time performance. Did I understand you to say that the scheduled was scheduled for a pickup and the appointment was the on-time to get them where they needed to be?
That's correct. So say if you have you call us in and say that you want to set up your doctor's appointment. You need to be at the doctor at 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
That's appointment time. Scheduled time is you want to get picked up at that specific time at your particular location.
That's a good delineation. I hadn't thought about doing that like that. That information's helpful. Good. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I thought that's what you said, but I just wanted to verify.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Thank you, sir. Let's see. Operations and Maintenance Monthly Metrics Report is the final presentation by Mr. Bobby Edwards and Mr. Nicholas Goldburn and Dale Smith and Richard Campbell. Gentlemen, you're up. Who wants to go first?
I'll take it.
You the boss.
Good morning again, Chair,
Good morning.
board members, Mr. Drainville. We'll start off looking at the ridership for the month of January. Fixed route, we were at 994,000, 981,000. Streetcar was at 112,856. ADA paratransit was at 14,558, totaling all modes to 1.1 million riders for the month of January. This was very comparable to the month of December as our ridership continues to go up. Taking a look at fixed route only, we look at a 6-month trend here where we can look at ridership from August all the way to January. As you see, that trend is continuously increasing over that time period. And as we're looking at January average weekly daily ridership, you see, as Justin mentioned earlier, we have about 6 routes that carry 30% of our ridership. As you look at the 6 to 1 to 34 to 400, 39, 12, and 45, where they're anywhere from 3,800 to 2,000 average weekly riders per day.
Route 6 took over Route 1, huh? Biggest one now.
And then we also saw an increase in our on-time performance to 73%, which was really good news there. We continue to work on our on-time performance, and as we look at our markup, our spring markup, we look to increase our on-time performance even more to meet that goal of 77%. Here, we look at our top 5 routes that carry the most riders versus the OTP. So again, looking at the 6, the 1, the 34, the 400, and the 39. And then there you see their on-time performance, Route 6 at 63%, constantly trying to make improvements to bring that up. The Route 1 is at 74, the Route 34 is at 74, Route 400 is at 76, and the Route 39 is at 70%. Then as we look at the 6-month system-wide OTP trend by mode, streetcar has held steady at 99.5%. Paratransit is at 96.8%. And then fixed route is at 72.9% for that 6-month trend. And then lastly, as we look at service reliability, out of the trips that we're running, 44,078 trips, we are completing 99.67% of all of our trips. So that completes the operations portion.
Thank you. Any questions? Mr. Drainville, I didn't read far enough into the script. You were supposed to introduce all this. I do apologize. Did you want to?
No, that's
Okay.
fine. We can move on to Mr. Goldberg.
All right, good morning, Chair, Mr. Knight, Mr. King. Nicholas Goldman, Director of Fleet Maintenance. I'll be presenting your January monthly metrics report. Okay. Our scheduled maintenance program, I'll go back one. Our scheduled maintenance program remains compliant with both FDOT and FDOT rules. For the month of, sorry, there's an error. For the month of January, we did 101 buses on time. I apologize for the error there. One bus was late. Our compliance for the entire month of January was 99.2%. Our goal is to complete 85% of our inspections on time, which is above the FDOT and FTA mandate. We're well above that goal. So the challenge now is how do we maintain 100% compliance all the time? And in the past, we were on track. Over the last 2 quarters, we had 2 buses that were late. These buses were late by only marginal distances, 12 miles for our last month, and the prior bus was only late by 30 miles. So, but 100% is where we're trying to go. Fixed route vehicle availability. This is a new metric that we're presenting to the committee. Normally, we try to have 80% of our vehicles available for service during peak hours, which is roughly the 8 a.m. period. Last month, we reported 79% as our fixed route fleet availability. We did see a slight decrease to 77% for January. That's within our statistical variance, so it's concerning. There are several challenges we're facing right now that's directly affecting availability. Staffing, parts, extremely long delays on powertrains, engines and transmissions. We've been waiting, in several instances, 4 buses, I believe, over 180 days for 4 engines. So those are affecting our availability. Minutes between failure. Our goal for minutes between major mechanical failure is to drive 15,000 miles between a major mechanical breakdown. Since November, we've made strides in a more positive trend, where we went from 9,000 in October to 13,350 miles in November, and in December, we drove 13,475. In January, we increased to 14,157 miles between major mechanical failures. I think there's 2 contributing factors here. The first one is we introduced 14 new buses into the fleet. The second factor is we recently formed a fleet maintenance technical committee where we gathered the smartest technicians on our staff, some of our most progressive supervisors and managers, and we sat down, meeting every second Tuesday of the month to talk about the technical challenges we're seeing in the fleet. We're looking at data, and we're like, okay, we're seeing a lot of cooling issues. We're seeing a lot of engine issues. What's driving these trends? And the team's been able to put together corrective action plans, disseminate that information to the rest of the staff, and we've seen a remarkable reduction in these trends. I think that's a move in a positive direction going forward. With that, I complete the police side of my report. I'll hand it over to Mr. Smith.
Any questions?
Any questions?
Hold on a second. Any questions before we go forward with that? I think that's impressive with the increase in the mileage, utilizing the kids in the sandbox. They're the ones that know what's going on and
Correct.
can get it fixed. That's good. That's good stuff. Okay, Mr. Smith.
Good morning, Chair, committee members, Mr. Granville. Dale Smith, Director of Facilities. I want to give you a brief overview of what the facility department has been up to over the last month. We'll start out with route maintenance. For January, our preventive maintenance work orders were 124, which has been pretty consistent over the last quarter. Demand response work orders have been 140, and that's a trend upwards. We're not exactly sure why we're trending to that number. We're looking into it to get any kind of statistical information on what's happening out there on the routes. I know we do come across things when school's out. We get a little more vandalism or things reported out on the routes. So we're going to keep an eye on what's going on out there. For facility maintenance, the preventive maintenance work orders are 122, which has been excellent, and our demand response has been down to 30, which again, that's an excellent trend for us in facilities that were handling things prior to them becoming a problem. Some of the completed projects for December for route maintenance, we removed and disposed of shelter. One of the older shelters, we're making way for some new shelters to come in. We installed some new bus stops. And we started a campaign to replace damaged glass. We had a lot of glass out on some of the shelters that have been etched in, and we're now getting out and getting those taken care of. The shelter will look a little nicer, and we're on top of that part. Facility maintenance, we completed a refresh of an office in the operations area, converting it from more of a break room to a two-person office. We repaired the exterior lighting at the Marion Transit Center, which we had a little fire that was underground we believe it was due to some built-up rainfall that had kind of pooled in the area. So we got that taken care of, and we started the refresh of the shop supervisor's office in the heavy maintenance building. And that's a recap of facilities if I have any questions.
Anybody have any questions? Ms. Henderson, I know you're on, you're online. Did you have any comments or questions? I guess not. Okay, Mr. Campbell.
No, I don't have any comments or questions. I've learned a lot. I do like the hope operator and patrons every day quote. That's really, really a good thing to have. And I do appreciate you all improving the numbers and bragging about that. So I'm new to HART, but I'm learning. Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, Directors, Mr. Drainville. I'm Richard Campbell. I'm the Chief Safety Officer, and I'll be reporting the safety metrics for the month of January. So for fixed route, there's a little delay. For fixed route, the only thing, we had 6 safety events to report, no injuries and no assaults. Fixed route injuries for the month of January were trending where we've been the last couple of months at 0.37. For fixed route safety events, we did have an uptick to 1.10 for the month of January. That is including, we had 4 slip and falls and a patron fell at the transfer center, and we had an operator trip and fall. That's we had an uptick trend in safety events. For paratransit, we have nothing to report, no injuries, no safety events or assaults. And the same for streetcar. No safety events, injuries, or assaults. For preventables and non-preventables, we had 4 preventable incidental accidents, 3 preventable accidents, and 18 non-preventable accidents for the month of January. That's all. Any questions?
Mr. Hart, Mr. Knight.
Yes, thank you for the presentation. Can you touch on a little on the safety events, the 6 on the fixed route? what-
Absolutely. So for safety events, we had 4 slip and falls while the bus was in motion. So unfortunately, sometimes customers get in a hurry. They don't wait for the bus to completely come to a stop before they're trying to exit to get to their stop. And that motion, they do slip and fall, and if they get injured, then obviously we have to, report it. And we had a customer slip and fall at the transfer center. So sometimes, whether they're, it's wet, it's raining, whatever the case may be, sometimes, customers are not, in the good health position or whatever, and, they trip and fall. And then we did have an operator trip and fall and hurt their foot as well.
What other type of safety events are there besides slip and fall? Or is that pretty much everything?
That's pretty much the most. Obviously, if we have an accident or something like that and somebody's injured, but those are injuries. But as far as the safety events are, anybody get hurt on the property or in the bus, something like that.
Any other questions? Very good. Thank you very much. Okay. All in all, it was pretty good reports from everybody for the month. Thank you very much. Mr. Drainfield, do you have any comments that you wish to bring up for anything?
I do not. I'm proud of the teams putting all these metrics together. I know it takes a lot of work to get us to collect all this data, get it together for this. It's very timely, so appreciate everything that the staff puts into this.
There's a lot of good programs and initiatives going on to improve performance, safety, and just general customer experience. So we're very grateful for that. Let's see, information, an update on the heavy maintenance facilities included as an information item in the packet. Does anybody have, any committee members have any questions? Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Keep up the good work. Any committee members have any comments or questions for staff regarding the heavy maintenance facility information? Appearing to be none. Is there any old business? Any new business? Thank you, everyone. This meeting is adjourned. Have a good day.